The red emergency lights cast an eerie glow across Space Station Liberty's command center. Outside the reinforced windows, a fleet of alien ships hung in the darkness of space like angry metal wasps. Their sharp, angular designs made them look nothing like the smooth human vessels that usually docked at the station. Station Commander Tom Walker stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching the main screen with calm blue eyes. His gray-streaked hair and weathered face spoke of decades of space service, but nothing in his experience had prepared him for this moment. First contact with an alien species, and they weren't here to make friends. "Your primitive station is surrounded," the alien commander's voice boomed through the speakers. The universal translator gave it an odd metallic echo. On screen, the alien's face looked like a cross between a praying mantis and a lizard, with 4 glowing yellow eyes and scaled skin that shimmered with a metallic green tint. "We have no hostile intentions," Walker replied, keeping his voice steady. "This is a research station. We're willing to talk." A harsh sound came through the speakers, something between a laugh and a hiss. "Talk. Your species is barely out of its gravity well. We've conquered 100 worlds. You have nothing to teach us." Walker noticed his crew tensing up around him. Lissa at Communications was gripping her console so hard her knuckles had turned white. Mike at Weapons Control kept glancing at the red button that would launch their few defensive missiles. Not that they would do much good against the alien fleet. "Perhaps we cooled," Walker started, but the alien cut him off. "Enough. You will surrender your station, or we will demonstrate our ultimate weapon. We've studied your pitiful defenses. You have no shields that can stop our boarding parties. Your weapons are primitive projectiles and basic energy beams." Walker's hand slowly moved under his desk, feeling for a specific button. His fingers found it, smooth, round, and marked with a raised paw print that only he could feel. He didn't press it. Not yet. "The mighty galactic Concordat does not waste time with primitives," the alien commander continued. "You have 10 of your Earth minutes to lower your defensive screens and prepare for boarding. We will take what we want, and you will serve as an example to the rest of your species." The alien's face filled the screen now, mandibles clicking in what Walker guessed was anticipation. "Perhaps we'll even keep some of you alive to show other primitive races what happens when they resist us." Walker noticed something interesting. For all their supposed superiority, the aliens hadn't spotted the station's most important defense. Their scans had missed it completely. He allowed himself a small smile. "Commander," Lisa whispered from her station, "they're powering up their weapons. Energy readings are off the charts." Walker nodded, still watching the alien commander rant about superiority and destiny. His finger rested on the button under his desk. Years of training and preparation had led to this moment, yet the aliens had no idea what was coming. 6 minutes until they opened fire," Mike reported, his voice tense. "Your time grows short, humans," the alien commander sneered. "Perhaps we should give you a small demonstration now." One of the smaller alien ships moved forward, its front opening like a blooming flower of death. Walker had seen enough. His finger pressed the button. Deep in the station's secure lower deck, lights came on in a special chamber. A soft beep sounded, and a specialized preparation sequence began. "What's this?" The alien commander suddenly leaned forward, his instruments apparently picking up some kind of activity. "Are you powering up your weapons?" "How amusing." "No," Walker said, allowing himself a broader smile now. "We're just letting our defense system warm up." "Defense system. Our scans show nothing but basic force fields and point defense weapons." "You should scan again," Walker suggested, "though it won't help. You're about to meet something your empire has never encountered before." The alien commander's mandibles clacked in irritation. "Your primitive threats mean nothing. We've crushed 100 species more advanced than you." "Maybe," Walker said, watching a green light blink on his console. "But I bet none of them had dogs." The alien frowned, the translator struggling with the word. "Dogs? What is?" Walker cut the transmission. He turned to his crew, who were all watching him with a mixture of fear and hope. "Everyone remain calm," he said. "And remember, this is exactly what we trained for." In the special chamber below, a German shepherd named Max opened his eyes, combat armor powering up around him. The real first contact was about to begin. The metal container shot out from Space Station Liberty's lower airlock, spinning slowly in the vacuum of space. It wasn't very big, about the size of a small refrigerator, and its plain gray surface reflected the distant starlight. On the alien flagship's bridge, Commander Vex's 4 eyes narrowed as he watched the object drift toward his ship. They launched this single container as their response. He turned to his sensor officer. "Scan it immediately." The sensor officer's clawed hands moved across the glowing control panel. "It's strange, Commander. I detect a small biological entity inside, some basic mechanical systems, and a self-contained atmosphere. A biological weapon, perhaps." Vex clicked his mandibles thoughtfully. "These humans are more primitive than we thought if they think a simple virus could harm our superior biology." Inside the container, Max sat calmly in his combat harness. The German shepherd's brown eyes were alert, watching the small screen that showed him the approaching alien ship. His special space suit hugged his muscular body comfortably, the result of years of development by Earth's best engineers. The suit was a masterpiece of human engineering, jet black with reinforced joints, built-in thrusters for zero-gravity movement, and special pads on his paws that could magnetize or grip almost any surface. A sleek helmet enclosed his head, with a clear visor that displayed targeting information and environmental readings. "Pathetic," Commander Vex announced to his bridge crew. "Let the container hit our hull. Our shields will..." "Wait, what's happening?" The container had suddenly changed course, its hidden thrusters firing with precise control. Instead of drifting, it now moved with purpose toward a specific point on the alien ship's hull. "Should we shoot it down?" asked the weapons officer, his scaled fingers hovering over the controls. Vex waved him off. "Why waste energy? Our shields will." His voice trailed off as the container passed straight through their energy shields, as if they weren't there. The aliens had calibrated their defenses to stop high-energy weapons and large objects, not a small container moving at relatively low speed. The container touched the hull gently, magnetically attaching itself to the alien ship's surface. For a moment, nothing happened. "See," Vex laughed. "Their primitive attack has failed. Now, prepare the boarding parties and..." A small explosion cut off his words. The container had detonated, not to destroy, but to create a perfect circular hole in the ship's hull. Before the emergency force fields could activate, something dark and fast shot through the opening. "What was that?" Vex demanded. "Show me the internal sensors." The screens flickered, showing various corridors and chambers inside the massive ship. For a moment, they caught a glimpse of something moving on 4 legs, but it disappeared so quickly that most of the bridge crew thought they had imagined it. "Security teams to all decks," Vex ordered. "Find whatever they sent aboard and destroy it." Inside the ship's corridors, Max moved with the fluid grace that made dogs one of Earth's most successful predators. His training kicked in automatically, 10 years of space combat drills and zero-gravity exercises guiding his every move. The suit's heads-up display showed him a map of the ship, compiled from quick scans the container had made before breaching the hull. His mission was clear: disable key systems, create chaos, and prove that humanity's best friend was also humanity's best defender. Max's sensitive nose, enhanced by his suit's sensors, picked up the alien scents. They smelled like a mix of metal and something like old leaves. He could hear them too, their hard-shell feet clicking on the metal floors as security teams rushed around, looking for a human-sized threat. None of them thought to look for a dog. Max paused at a junction, his suit automatically adjusting to keep him anchored to the floor. His heads-up display highlighted a critical power conduit running behind the wall. His special harness contained exactly what he needed: small, precise, explosive charges designed to disable but not destroy. In the distance, he could hear the alien commander's voice over the ship's speakers, ordering more security teams to search the upper decks. Max's mouth opened in what looked almost like a doggy smile. They were looking in exactly the wrong places. Time to show these aliens why humans had spent thousands of years calling dogs their best friends, and why Earth's enemies should fear that friendship. Max moved silently through the alien ship's ventilation system, his padded suit making no sound against the metal surfaces. The narrow spaces would have been impossible for a human to navigate, but for a trained German shepherd, they were perfect infiltration routes. His heads-up display marked his first target in glowing blue: the ship's main communication hub. If he could disable it, the alien fleet wouldn't be able to coordinate their attacks on the human station. Below him, through the vent grating, he could see alien crew members rushing back and forth. Their chittering voices echoed up to his sensitive ears as they searched for what they assumed would be a human intruder. "Search every room," one of them shouted. The humans must have sent some kind of assassin. Max's training kicked in as he remembered his countless practice runs back on Earth. The space station's designers had built exact replicas of alien ship layouts, gathered from years of secret observations. He had run through these scenarios hundreds of times with his handler. The ventilation shaft opened into a larger junction. Max's suit thrusters activated silently, helping him make the turn without touching the walls. His display showed he was right above the communication center. Through another grating, he could see the room below. 3 aliens sat at their stations, their scaled hands moving across glowing control panels. Security guards stood at the doors, holding weapons that looked like long, twisted pieces of metal. Max reached into one of his suit's compartments with his teeth, a movement practiced until it was as natural as fetching a ball. He pulled out a small silver sphere, an EMP device specifically designed to knock out alien technology without harming his own equipment. The timing had to be perfect. He waited until one of the aliens below opened a maintenance panel to check some wiring. Then, with practiced precision, he dropped the sphere through the grating. It fell silently, rolling under the open panel just as the alien was closing it. 3 seconds later, every screen in the communication center went dark. "What's happening?" one of the aliens screeched. "All systems are failing." "Check the backup power," another shouted. Max was already moving. While they were distracted by the system's failure, he pushed open the ventilation grating and dropped into the shadows behind a large server bank. His suit's adaptive camouflage helped him blend into the darkness. The aliens were panicking now, trying to restart their equipment. None of them noticed the dark shape moving quietly along the floor, placing small charges at key points around the room. These weren't explosive. They were specialized devices that would permanently fuse the ship's communication circuits. Commander Vex demands to know what's wrong. A guard shouted from the doorway. "Why aren't the systems responding?" "We don't know," one of the technicians responded. "Everything just died. It's like something got into the..." The alien's voice trailed off as he turned and for the first time saw Max. The German shepherd stood in plain view now, his mission in this room accomplished. The alien's 4 eyes widened in confusion. What is that thing?" The other aliens turned to look. They had never seen anything like Max before, a 4-legged creature in advanced combat armor, standing confidently in their command center. For a moment, nobody moved. The aliens stared at Max, and Max stared back, his brown eyes alert and intelligent. Their weapons remained pointed at the doors, still expecting a human attacker. That moment of confusion was all Max needed. As the aliens finally began to raise their weapons, he activated his suit's emergency flash system. A burst of bright light filled the room, overwhelming the aliens' sensitive eyes. By the time they could see again, Max was gone, leaving behind only disabled equipment and very confused aliens. "Sound the alarm," one of them shouted. "There's some kind of animal loose on the ship." But the communications were down. The alarms remained silent, and somewhere in the ship's vast network of corridors and maintenance tubes, Max was already moving toward his next target, his tail wagging slightly inside his armor. After all, this was just like the training exercises back home, only this time, the treat at the end would be helping save humanity from alien invasion. Commander Vex slammed his clawed fist onto his command chair, making the nearby crew members jump. Nothing was making sense. First, the communications had gone down, then weapons control reported power failures, and now half the ship's security cameras were offline. How can you not find the intruder? He roared at the security chief. It's been 2 hours. Sir, the security chief's scales had turned a pale green from stress. We've searched every deck. We're looking for a human, but all we find are strange things. What strange things? Vex's 4 eyes narrowed. Toolboxes torn open with teeth marks on the equipment, claw scratches on walls near critical systems. And this. The security chief held up a clump of black and tan fur caught on a damaged panel. In another part of the ship, Max was proving why Earth's military had spent so much time and money on the K-9 space combat program. His suit's cooling system kept him comfortable as he worked, methodically disabling one system after another. Look at this security footage, an alien technician called out, drawing Vex's attention to one of the few working screens. The grainy video showed a dark blur moving across a corridor. Whatever it is, it's fast. Magnify the image, Vex ordered. The screen zoomed in, but the image was too blurry to make out details. All they could see was something moving on 4 legs, wearing what looked like armor. Impossible, Vex muttered. They sensed some kind of animal. An alarm suddenly blared through the ship. Red lights flashed as another system went down. Engineering reports complete failure in the main weapon control system. Someone shouted. They found more of those small devices planted near the power cores. Max, meanwhile, was accessing his next target. His heads-up display showed a detailed map of the ship's engine room. This would be trickier. More aliens, better lighting, fewer hiding spots. But his training had prepared him for exactly this situation. He watched through a ceiling panel as alien engineers rushed around below, trying to fix the systems he'd already disabled. His suit's sensors analyzed their movements, looking for patterns and gaps he could exploit. Back on the bridge, Commander Vex was receiving more disturbing reports. Sir, Security Team 6 just reported seeing the intruder, an officer announced. They say it's some kind of quadrupedal beast in black armor. They fired at it. But what? But it moved too fast, and then their weapons stopped working. They found tiny devices attached to their power packs. Vex's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation. Are you telling me that humans have somehow trained an animal to disable our technology? There's more, sir, another officer called out. We found this recorded in the ship's database. It was transmitted just before our communications went down. The main screen flickered to life, showing an image that made every alien on the bridge freeze. It was a simple picture from Earth's public networks, a human military handler working with a German shepherd, both wearing training versions of space combat suits. They're called dogs, sir, the officer explained. Earth's data networks are full of information about them. They've been working with humans for thousands of years. They can be trained to. The officer never finished his sentence. At that moment, every light on the bridge went out. The backup systems, which should have kicked in immediately, remained silent. In the darkness, they heard something moving. Something with padded feet and quiet, efficient movements. When the emergency lights finally came on, they found every weapon on the bridge had been disabled. Small devices were attached to each control panel, quietly killing any system they tried to activate. And there, on the commander's own chair, they found a single black and tan hair. Find that creature. Vex screamed, his voice echoing through the ship. Find it now. But Max was already 3 decks away, his mission nearly complete. In his training, They had taught him that causing confusion was almost as important as causing damage. And right now, hundreds of elite alien warriors were being thoroughly confused by one very well-trained dog. His next target was the engine room. And after that, he had a special surprise planned for Commander Vex himself. The engine room of the alien flagship glowed with an eerie purple light. Massive power cores hummed with energy, their crystalline surfaces pulsing like beating hearts. 20 armed guards stood in defensive positions, their weapons pointed at every entrance. Nothing gets in or out. The head engineer barked. This is our last functioning major system. They had triple-sealed all the doors, activated every security scanner, and placed motion detectors everywhere. Whatever had been wreaking havoc across their ship, they were determined it wouldn't reach the engines. They had forgotten to look up. Max hung silently in the maintenance shaft above them, his suit's sensors mapping out every guard's position. His heads-up display highlighted the engine's weak points in glowing red markers. The mission had been going perfectly so far, but this would be the trickiest part. The shaft's cover slid open without a sound, thanks to the oil Max had applied with his teeth earlier. Training had taught him that preparation was just as important as action. The first guard looked up at the wrong moment. His 4 eyes widened as he saw Max dropping from the ceiling, the German Shepherd's combat armor gleaming in the purple light. "There!" the guard shouted. "The beast is." He never finished. Max's EMP collar activated as he landed, sending out a pulse that disabled every weapon within 10 meters. The guards pulled their triggers, but nothing happened. Now they got their first good look at what had been terrorizing their ship. Max stood proudly in the center of the room, his black and tan fur visible through his suit's clear sections. His brown eyes were alert and intelligent, scanning the room with military precision. By the void, one alien whispered, "It's some kind of Earth predator." Max's combat training kicked in. As the guards rushed him with their now useless weapons raised as clubs, he moved like lightning. His spacesuit enhanced his natural abilities, letting him jump higher, move faster, and strike harder than any normal dog could. He bounced off walls, his suit's magnetic pads letting him run across metal surfaces at impossible angles. Guards swung at him, but he was never where they expected. Years of training with human special forces had taught him how to use his size and speed to his advantage. "Surrounded," someone shouted, but Max was already moving again. His suit dispensed small sticky devices as he ran, specially designed to attach to the engine's power distribution nodes. Each one contained a tiny computer virus that would slowly corrupt the engine's control systems. The aliens had never faced anything like him. Their combat training was designed to fight humans or other bipedal species. Nothing had prepared them for a 4-legged opponent that could run on walls, leap over their heads, and seem to think 3 steps ahead of them. "What kind of creature is this?" the head engineer demanded, watching as Max effortlessly evaded another group of guards. No animal should be this intelligent. As if to answer him, Max stopped in the center of the room again. His suit's external speakers activated, playing a pre-recorded message in the alien's own language. "Greetings. You are experiencing Earth's K-9 Space Combat Unit. For thousands of years, dogs have been humanity's partners, protectors, and friends. We have evolved together, learned together, and now we go to space together. Please consider this demonstration when deciding whether to continue your hostile actions." The message ended just as Max completed his final task. Every sticky device he had planted began to glow with a soft blue light. The engine's purple glow started flickering. The power core. The head engineer screamed, "It's being corrupted. Shut it down." But their controls no longer responded. Max's viruses had done their work. As chaos erupted around him, Max calmly walked toward the exit. The guards, now seeing what he was truly capable of, stepped back. Some even lowered their weapons, recognizing the futility of fighting this strange Earth creature. Commander Vex's voice crackled over the failing intercom. "All hands, abandon the engine room. Seal all bulkheads. Don't let that That thing reached the bridge. Max's tail wagged slightly inside his armor. The bridge was exactly where he was headed next. After all, he had a special message to deliver to the commander personally. Behind him, the mighty engine of the alien flagship started to power down, its systems thoroughly outsmarted by one very good boy. Commander Vex stood alone on his bridge, surrounded by disabled equipment and dark screens. His once mighty flagship had been reduced to a drifting hulk by a single Earth creature. The last working screen showed his fleet's other ships maintaining their distance, unsure what to make of their flagship's strange behavior. The bridge doors had been sealed with emergency barriers, thick metal plates designed to stop any intruder. Vex held his personal weapon tightly, all four eyes fixed on the entrance. He had sent away his bridge crew, determined to face this threat alone. "Come on, Earth Beast," he muttered. "Show yourself." As if answering his challenge, a soft scratching sound came from above. Vex looked up just in time to see a ceiling panel swing open. Max dropped onto the bridge's main console, his combat armor gleaming under the emergency lights. For the first time, Vex got a clear look at the creature that had single-handedly defeated his ship. The German Shepherd stood proud and alert, brown eyes studying the alien commander with intelligent focus. His black and tan fur was visible through the clear sections of his advanced spacesuit. "So," Vex said, raising his weapon, "this is what the humans send to fight their battles. A mere animal." Max tilted his head, looking at the weapon. His suit's sensors had already detected that it was the same model he'd been disabling all over the ship. One pulse from his EMP collar would render it useless. But he had a different mission now. His suit's external speakers activated again, playing another pre-recorded message. "Commander Vex, your ship has been disabled. Your weapon systems are offline. Your engines are shutting down. Would you like to discuss terms of withdrawal?" Vex's mandibles clicked in rage. "Never. I will not be defeated by a..." He stopped, realizing something. "Wait, if you're just an animal, who is really speaking to me?" The main screen behind Max suddenly flickered to life. Station Commander Walker's face appeared, smiling calmly. "That would be me," Walker said. "I see you've met our K9 unit. Max is one of our best." "One of your..." Vex's scales paled. "You mean you have more of these creatures?" "Every human space station is equipped with a K9 unit," Walker explained. "We find they're excellent at handling unexpected situations. Max has been transmitting everything back to us. Your ship's specs, your weapon systems, your tactical data. We have it all." Vex looked at his weapon, then at Max, then at the screen. "Why? Why show me this now?" "Because," Walker said, "Max's final mission wasn't to destroy your ship. It was to deliver a message. Earth is not what you think it is. We're not just humans. We're humans and dogs, working together. We've been partners for thousands of years, and that partnership has made both species stronger." Max sat down, still watching Vex carefully. His training had prepared him for combat, but it had also taught him about making peace. Sometimes, showing mercy was more powerful than showing force. "Look at your screens," Walker continued. The other bridge monitors came back to life, showing feeds from Earth. Dogs working with police, dogs rescuing people from disasters, dogs guiding the blind, dogs playing with children. "This is what you're really facing," Walker said. "Not just our technology or our weapons, but a bond between species that goes back to the very beginning of our civilization. Every human station, every colony, every ship in our fleet has partners like Max. And that's just the beginning of what Earth's species can do together." Vex slowly lowered his weapon. He looked at Max again, seeing him in a new light. Not just a beast, but an intelligent partner species to humanity. His empire had conquered many worlds, but they'd never encountered anything like this. "Your terms?" Vex asked quietly. "Simple," Walker replied. "Leave, tell your empire what you've learned here. And remember, the next time you think about attacking Earth or its colonies, You're not just fighting humans. You're fighting thousands of years of partnership between two species who have learned to work as one. Max stood up, his mission complete. He had shown the aliens not just Earth's strength, but also its wisdom. And he had done it without taking a single life. Oh, and Commander Vex, Walker added with a smile. Max says your ship could really use some better ventilation shafts. 3 hours after Commander Vex's surrender, Max sat in Space Station Liberty's decontamination chamber, patiently waiting as the cleaning beams swept over his combat suit. His mission had been successful. The alien fleet was retreating, their mighty warships slinking away into the darkness of space. Through the chamber's window, he could see his handler, Jim, waiting with a special surprise, Max's favorite blue rubber ball. Even after years of advanced combat training, some things never change. All clear, the computer announced. The chamber door slid open with a soft hiss. Max trotted out, his tail wagging as Jim helped remove his combat suit. Behind them, Station Commander Walker was showing Commander Vex around the station's K-9 training facility. The alien leader had requested to learn more before departing. Remarkable, Vex said, watching other dogs training in zero-gravity chambers. His 4 eyes were wide with genuine wonder. Each one is different. Every dog has their own personality and skills, Walker explained. Max specializes in stealth and technical sabotage. Others are better at search and rescue, or direct combat, or space construction work. They watched as a young border collie expertly navigated an asteroid field simulation, using her suit's thrusters to collect scattered space debris. And they all choose to serve? Vex asked, his mandibles clicking in curiosity. Walker smiled. They choose to partner with us. It's not service, it's friendship, something your empire might want to learn about. In the corner of the facility, Max was enjoying his well-deserved playtime. Jim threw the ball, using a special low-gravity setting that made it bounce in interesting patterns. Max calculated the trajectories instantly, his space combat training making the game more fun rather than less. The report has already been sent to my superiors, Vex said, watching Max play. I don't think we'll be troubling Earth again anytime soon. But he hesitated. I would like to learn more. Perhaps an exchange of knowledge. Walker raised an eyebrow. What did you have in mind? My empire has encountered many species, but we've always seen them as things to conquer or control. You've shown us a different way. Perhaps we could establish a cultural exchange. Your K-9 programs have much to teach us about partnership between species. Before Walker could respond, Max trotted over, carrying his ball. He sat in front of Vex, tail wagging, and dropped the ball at the alien commander's feet. Vex looked confused. What does this mean? He wants to play with you, Jim explained, walking over. It's how dogs make friends. The alien commander carefully picked up the ball with his clawed hands. Max watched expectantly, his brown eyes bright with intelligence and friendship. Just throw it, Walker suggested. He'll do the rest. Vex gently tossed the ball. It bounced off the low-gravity ceiling, ricocheted off 3 walls, and spiraled through the air. Max launched himself after it, using all his spatial training to calculate the perfect intercept course. He caught it with a graceful mid-air twist that would have made any space combat instructor proud. For the first time since they'd met him, Vex made a sound that might have been a laugh. Later that day, as the alien fleet prepared to depart, messages were already spreading across their empire's communication networks. They told of the strange Earth creatures called dogs, who were neither servants nor masters, but true partners to humanity. The stories spoke of their intelligence, their loyalty, and their ability to turn even the most advanced warship into their personal playground. In his quarters, Max curled up in his special bed, tired but content. His combat suit hung nearby, ready for the next mission. On his shelf sat a new toy, a strange alien ball that glowed in the dark, a gift from a former enemy turned student. Jim patted his head gently. Good boy, Max. You didn't just complete your mission. You made a friend. Max's tail thumped happily against his bed. After all, that's what dogs did best, whether on Earth or in the depths of space. They took scary things and made them into friends, turned enemies into playmates, and showed everyone that sometimes the greatest power isn't in weapons or technology, but in the simple act of offering to play catch. Even if that game of catch happened to take place after infiltrating an alien warship.